Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you doing this evening?
Good.
Yeah, great. Can you hear me at the back? Great. Okay, so I haven't been talking for very long, but can any of you tell me where I am from?
Germany. Ireland.
Yes. I am from Ireland. Okay, this is a harder question. Can any of you tell me what city in Ireland I'm from? Okay, this is harder. Okay.
Dublin.
Yes, I am from Dublin. Okay. So, I was wondering if I should give this talk in English or in Gaelic. Okay, how many people would like me to give this talk in English?
No.
Okay. So you all understand Gaelic?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I say this to you, Connor Tatu, what is the response? Okay, I'm going to teach you a little bit of Gaelic, okay? Okay, I'm going to teach you a little bit of Gaelic. So if I say to you, Connor Tatu, that means how are you? Okay. And so you respond. Okay, you respond. Ta me gama. Ta me gama. Ta me gama. Connor Tatu. You are all really, really good. You're all ready to go to Ireland. Okay, have any of you been to Ireland? Okay, you've been to Ireland. You've been to Dublin. Flew into Dublin. Okay. So, Irish people are supposed to like cabbage, right? Okay. So on St. Patrick's Day, what do you eat on St. Patrick's Day? Okay. How many people here eat cabbage on St. Patrick's Day? Okay. How many people like to eat cabbage? Okay, about half of you. Okay, so when I was around your age, when I lived in Ireland, I thought that all religious sisters, I'm a religious sister, I thought that all religious sisters ate cabbage every day. Okay, why did I think this? Because there was a convent close to where I lived, and whenever I would go, I always smelled cabbage. And I have to let you know, I don't like cabbage. I don't like cabbage. I know that sounds like a treasonous comment coming from an Irish person, but I'm not crazy about cabbage. And so I thought, well, if all sisters eat cabbage every day, and I don't like cabbage, I'm not called to be a sister. That was my discernment process. It took 2 minutes, okay? But it's kind of ironic that I'm here before you as a religious sister, as a very, very happy religious sister, as someone who has given my entire life to God, okay? And just this past June, I had my final profession of vows. That's like your wedding day to Jesus, because a religious sister is married to Yes. Okay, and now you can see what color veil I have?
White.
Okay, and when you think of a white veil, what do you think about?
A wedding.
Exactly, a bride, exactly. So, religious sisters in our community, we choose to keep a white veil to remind ourselves and others that we are married to Jesus, okay? Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about Jesus healing the 2 blind men. Okay, so I'm going to read it. It's just a couple of sentences. It's from Matthew's Gospel. And it says, as they were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. There were 2 blind men sitting by the roadside. When they heard that Jesus was passing by, they shouted, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." The crowd sternly ordered them to be quiet, but they shouted even more loudly, "Have mercy on us, Lord, Son of David." Jesus stood still and called them, saying, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." Moved with compassion, Jesus touched their eyes. Immediately they regained their sight and followed him. Now, sometimes when we read stories like this, we think, you know, that was really nice for those 2 blind men, okay? They lived centuries ago, they were healed of their blindness, that's nice for them, okay? That's their story, it happened a long time ago. we don't always see the relevance for our own lives, okay? Now, if I was to ask you, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. What's his name?
Andrew.
Okay, Andrew. Are you blind?
Yes.
Okay, in what way are you blind?
I actually am pretty blind. I mean, I have to wear contacts.
Okay, you have to wear contacts. Okay, okay. What about you? Are you blind?
I'm barely able to see.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's really worrying. I can't. Right, my right eye.
okay, okay,
I'll just say no. I'll just say no.
okay,
My right eye is very blurry.
okay. You're not blind, okay? What about you? Are you blind? Would you consider yourself blind? Okay. Okay, so there are many different ways that we can be blind, okay? Some of us, our eyesight might not be the best. We might need to wear glasses or we might need to wear contact lenses. But for some of the rest of us, we don't always see people as they really are, okay? We don't always see people as they really are. And there's 3 different ways that we can see people or not see people. Okay. The first, I'm looking for a volunteer to come up here.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yep. Can you come up? Okay. You don't have to do anything, okay, but you just stand there. Okay, so this is the first thing that can happen, okay, is that I'm talking to you, okay, but I have like a mirror in front of you. So am I really seeing him? Okay, who am I seeing?
Yourself.
Exactly, I'm seeing myself. Okay, thanks, you can go back down. Okay, so sometimes we don't see the people that we're interacting with. We don't really see them. Okay, we think we see them, but we don't really see them. So a couple of examples. For example, if I want to hang out with somebody because that person will introduce me to really cool people, okay? We're seeing that person for what they can do for us, okay? It's self-focused. What can this person do for me? What can this person give me? But I'm not really seeing that person for who they really are, okay? Or even our parents, you know, if I'm really nice to my mom or to my dad, maybe they'll get me what I really, really want for Christmas, okay? So we're seeing that person, our parent, for what they can do for us, okay? We're effectively seeing ourselves in the mirror when we look at them, okay? So the second way that we can see people is we kind of see them, but we don't really see them, okay? We see the exterior. So, okay, what's this? Okay. Okay. Now, can you imagine, now we all know what this is, okay? And we know what it's like. Do you all like pineapple? Yes. Okay. We like it because it's sweet, okay? Because it's really good. Now, can you imagine that you were the first person to see a pineapple? I mean, look at it. I mean, when you look at a pineapple, can you tell that it's sweet inside? No. I mean, it looks all like, I don't know. How would you describe a pineapple? Prickly. Yeah, right? Okay. Anyone over here, how would you describe a pineapple?
Spiky.
Yeah, spiky, okay? It doesn't look the most appealing, okay? So the very first person to see a pineapple was probably like, oh, just walked right past it, you know? Was not going to think, this is sweet, this is really good, okay? So we too can see people in a way we just see the exterior. We don't really spend time getting to know them. It's more like a fleeting connection. I want to give you an example, an embarrassing story from my own life of this. So I'd say it was about a year or 2 ago, and I was on a plane, and I was going down to do a course in Florida. And on the second day of the course, this woman came over to me, and she said, sister, she said, were you the one that I was beside on the plane on the way down here? And I looked at her. I had no idea if I had seen her before or not. And I thought back, you know, I sat beside somebody for 3 hours on a plane, and to me, they were like generic person. A person sat beside me, but I was not interested in getting to know them and talking to them. I didn't even know if this person who came up to me was the person that sat beside me for 3 hours on the plane. And I remember thinking, you know, that's not good, okay? I wasn't really open to that person. I didn't see that person. I knew there was a person beside me, but I didn't know who that was. I didn't inquire about them. I didn't ask how their day was. I didn't find out a little bit more about them. It was all about I just saw the exterior, and that was it. The third way that we can see somebody is to really see them, to really see them. Okay, and I want to give you a couple of examples. So I'm friends with a police officer in Steubenville. Any of you have parents who are police officers? Okay, so a couple, yeah. Okay, so as you know, police officers need to arrest people every so often, okay? Now, normally the person who is arrested does not write a thank you letter to the police department for being arrested, okay? Would you agree? Doesn't normally happen, okay. However, my friend, this police officer, arrested a guy in such a way that the guy he arrested wrote a letter of thank you to the police department. I'm going to read you an extract from this letter because it's just remarkable. He says, "Dear Chief, I am writing to inform you how pleased I am that Officer X, I'll call him, arrested me on such a date. Officer X's actions and my spending 3 days in jail helped me to realize that I was an alcoholic. Since my arrest, I have entered a particular rehab center to treat my addiction to alcohol. Please know that Officer X was very professional and caring during my arrest. I am very grateful to Officer X and thank him for showing me the light to recovery. Officer X is a shining example of what an officer of the law should be when performing their job." Now, I don't know about you, but to me this is a remarkable letter. Like, this police officer, he didn't just see this person he was arresting as, oh, it's just another guy I have to arrest. He really saw him and he cared about him to the point where this guy, after having been arrested, writes a letter to say that the police officer was so caring that it really impacted his life, and he realized that he needed help and he needed to go to a rehab center, and that's what he did. Those are the steps that he took. I mean, to say how pleased I am that Officer X arrested me, I'm very grateful to Officer X. I mean, he was very professional and caring during my arrest. Okay, this is an example of that third category, okay, of when we really see somebody, okay? We see beyond the exterior, okay? We see to the heart of who they are. Another example I want to give is my 3-year-old nephew. His name is Daniel. And of course, I'm very biased because I think he's the best 3-year-old in Ireland. But Daniel, there was a story that my sister just shared with me about 2 weeks ago about Daniel. Now, when you think of 3-year-olds, how many of you have siblings who are 3 years of age? Okay, it's probably a few of you, yeah. Okay, so 3-year-olds, when we think of a 3-year-old, we don't tend to think of a 3-year-old as really seen to the heart, okay? They tend to be quite like me focused, right? Okay, so it's like this person can give me what I want to eat, this person can give me what I want to drink, okay? So that's pretty natural, okay? But my sister was saying that she was at dinner just recently with her husband and her 2 sons, one of whom is Daniel, who's 3. And she said that herself and her husband, they were talking about money. And my sister was expressing this fear that they didn't have enough money for something. And so she was getting a little upset about this. And so she didn't realize at the time that Daniel was even paying attention to anything, what was going on. And she said, "You'll never guess what happened," she said. Daniel got off of his chair, which he never has done during a mealtime. He loves his food like all of us do. And it was like, this was unusual for him. He got down off of his chair, he walked over to my sister, and very discreetly, he whispered in his ear that he had some money that he wanted to give her, that it was upstairs. This was his play money, which he heard in the conversation that there was some anxiety about money, and he thought of the other person. He really saw my sister and her needs. And so my sister was really moved by this, and she thanked him. And she thought that was the end of it. Well, about 3 hours later, when she was putting him to bed and she went up into his bedroom with him, the first thing he did was he went over to his drawer and he pulled open his drawer with his play money in there, and he starts taking out wads of his money and bringing them over to my sister, like, here, Mom, maybe this will help. And I don't know exactly what words he used because he's 3. He can't string full sentences together, but he remembered, like even 3 hours later from that conversation, he remembered. And then my sister said it was about 2 or 3 days later when she was out in the car and Daniel is in the back, and all of a sudden she hears, Mama, money, okay, Mama, happy? Like, he can't string full sentences together, but he was still concerned for her, that he had heard the need that she was expressing at the table, and he was so focused on her. He was trying to meet her needs in his little 3-year-old way. And she realized, I have to be very careful what I say around this guy because he picks up a lot more than I realized. But I wanted to give you that example of a 3-year-old who was able to see, who didn't just see what his mom could do for him, but who his mom was and what her needs were, and really tried to see her, okay? How are we doing for time, Holly? Yeah, pretty much, okay. So there are just a few examples, and I thought it was interesting when I was reading through that scripture that Jesus said to them, what do you want me to do for you? What do you want me to do for you? Okay, and I think he says the same thing to us today. Now, you might say those 3 examples that I gave, maybe you have a tendency to see people like this, okay? You don't really see them. You see them for what they can do for you. Or maybe you're in the second category. Maybe you tend to see people, but you see the exterior. You don't really go any deeper than that. You see somebody based off of their external appearance, but you don't go any deeper than that. And Jesus is the one who wants to heal us of our blindness. He wants to help us to see, to really see one another. And so I just encourage you, like the blind men did in the scripture passage, when Jesus said to them, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus is always the gentleman, okay? He asks us. He doesn't impose. What do you want me to do for you, he says. And he says that to each one of us today. And so if you're in the situation where you want to see people in a fuller way, you want to see those around you, you want to really engage with them, ask him to help you. Ask him to heal you of your blindness, to help you to see to the heart like he did when he walked this earth. And just one last example before I close. I mentioned to you my sister and Daniel and their family. So again, this just happened recently within the last couple of weeks. There were neighbors of my sister from Brazil. Any of you been to Brazil? No? Okay. 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 So anyway, this family from Brazil, it was a married couple, and they were moving out of their house that was close to my sister's place. And they wrote a letter, and this is what they said. They said, we are Belize and Eduardo, the couple who lived at the house number 6 in your street. We are moving out today. This was our first house in Ireland, and now we are moving to an apartment that will live just the 2 of us. We are writing this letter to thank you. You don't know that, but your family brought joy and happiness for us so many days. The simple fact that you wave for us, and Daniel saying bye-bye, cheered us up after a hard day or when the loneliness seemed too big. We spent hard days here in this house. We left our family and our house back in Brazil, and we don't have many friends here. Most of the time it's just the 2 of us. Sometimes when we're cooking in the kitchen and we see Daniel running with some funny hat through the window, and that makes us see the pleasure of living here and the beauty around us. We are really grateful for that. For us, it was very, very meaningful to be seen by your family, okay? To be seen by your family. Someone seeing us for a change. And we like to thank you for that with all our heart. It doesn't seem much, but for those like us who value simple things in life, it was a big pleasure to wave back to you all. And they go on. But I just wanted to read that because it was very simple steps. It was simply waving at them and saying bye-bye, saying hello. that made a difference to that family. They felt that they were really seen by those small actions. So the actions don't have to be big, they don't have to be dramatic. They can be little actions that help us to really see one another, okay? So I just wanted to make that point as well. Okay, so Conna sa tátu? Anyone remember? Anyone remember? Yeah? Okay. Conna sa tátu means?
How are you?
Yeah, okay. And the response is? Very good. Okay, you got the first part. Okay. Tá mé go maith. Tá mé go maith. Tá mé go maith.